So, would you agree with me that there's a process of spiritual revolution or growth or healing that we go through and expand into the best version of ourselves? Would you agree that there's a process?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. I don't know about you, but I need help on that journey quite frequently. And here at Unity, we have a community. You've heard people talk about it. We nurture and empower each other to transform our lives that we may serve the world. And it is that transforming part where we already made in the image and likeness of God. We're already there. We're already made in that image and likeness. But it's our mind that we have to get to the same place as our heart already is. We have to align them together. And that's what prayer is for. And that's what all of these practices are for. That's why the name of this talk is Practice Makes Progress. Because we're already perfect, right? We're already perfect. We're already there. So it's the progress that we want to keep on making. We're already worthy. We're already whole. We're already perfect. But there are places in life, in each of our lives, that it doesn't feel that way because we haven't yet embodied that perfectness, that knowing, that truth. Mine is sometimes in relationships. Mine is in my new career that I'm kind of embarking on. And even sometimes when I have to come up here, I say all the time, I'm so anxious, I'm so nervous, until I get up here and I just start talking and let Spirit kind of talk through me. But really knowing that we are whole and perfect requires something of us. We have to become that which we already are. Does that make sense? So it's interesting listening to children. While I was, writing and stuff, I go to some websites that have funny things that kids say. And this one was about a woman who put on her pants, and afterwards she laughed at herself and said, "Look how silly I am." She said it to her 5-year-old. "I put my pants on backward," and he responded with quite exasperation and says, "And you're in charge?" Yeah, we're in charge, and we also make silly mistakes. And my point is, if we look at our life or our spiritual journey as we are toddlers all the time, right, we can find the joy in it, find the childlike humor in it, and also find the curiosity in it and keep growing. I have a 4-year-old grandson who's always negotiating. It's quite funny. It's like, how does he come up with these things? It's time to go to bed. Are we really doing this? Yes, we're really doing this. So again, my point is, we learned at a very young age how to negotiate. And when we were born, we were just love, right? How many babies have you seen and you just love them? But then we start going to school and we start listening to other people and we forget that we are this beautiful love bundle. And so now we come to churches and we do workshops and we do all different things to be reminded again of who we are. So as I said earlier, we're already whole and perfect and complete, and yet we have to grow into a deeper embodiment of reality so we can get free from all of those old false beliefs that keep us down. So I'm going to say something and we're going to repeat it 3 times, okay? I'll say it first by myself and then we'll say it together. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say one line, you say one line, okay? I am not what I was.
I am not what I was.
Nor yet what I shall be.
Nor yet what I shall be.
I am willing to become.
I am willing to become.
The very best of me.
The very best of me.
Let's do that again. I am not what I was.
I am not what I was.
Nor yet what I shall be.
Nor yet what I shall be.
I am willing to become.
I am willing to become.
The very best of me.
The very best of me.
One more time. I am not what I was.
I am not what I was.
Nor yet what I shall be.
Nor yet what I shall be.
I am willing to become.
I am willing to become.
The very best of me.
The very best of me.
You got it. It's in your heart now, hopefully. I'm not what I used to be. I have grown. I have healed some of those old beliefs. We talk about medical conditions that happen to us. We've been through so many things, and I'm here to say congratulations, because we've all made it to here. And guess what? None of us are going to come out of this alive, right? Right? But the thing is, death isn't the opposite of life. Death is the opposite of birth. We all came in with a soul. We all came in alive. Now we just have bodies. And then after we die, we have this soul again. But we have this dash, right, between our birthday and our death date. This opportunity to live the best life that we can live. And, you know, if I'm not who I'm going to be, I still have work that has to be done. And most of the work that all of us has to do is about releasing something, old beliefs. It's not about gaining anything. It's about releasing the old beliefs that we somehow took on that are not true about ourselves. And we're always expanding toward revealing the Christ or the love or the best of us. Always. At Unity, as Theresa said when she lit the candle, we do not teach that Christ was not Jesus of Nazareth's last name. Christ is a consciousness that we all have. And it's about what are we doing? What are the practices we are doing to live in and from and through that place? Christos is actually a Greek word that means the anointed one. Jesus told his followers, those who come after me will do even greater things. That's you and I. We've come after Jesus. We're going to do greater things than Jesus has done. He taught that the kingdom of heaven is within. Well, the way we're going to do better things is by going within and finding out what is ours to do. He didn't say he was the only one. Jesus encouraged his disciples, and in the writings, that we are to rise into and become the Christ ourselves. We already are, but we may not know it. So my talk title is Practice Makes Progress, and I have 3 points. Practice doesn't need to be perfect. Second point, grace and blessings only need our receptivity. And the third thing is, we are all here on purpose in this time, right now. We're supposed to be here, and we've got something to do here. So the thing is, with practice, I'm going to swear, half-ass is good enough. And I'll tell you why I know this, because I've been meditating for 15 years, and sometimes I do it half-ass, okay? I go into it thinking I'm not going to be able to get still, I'm not going to be able to get quiet, but I make sure I go into it. Now, I still have those days, but meditation is the one thing that has transformed my life more than anything in the world that I've ever done, and I've done a few things. So I encourage you, if you don't have a meditation practice, I started with 5 minutes a day, and it's grown to 20 minutes a day, and sometimes twice a day. So find what works for you. And it doesn't necessarily mean sitting and being still. It could be a walking meditation. You find what works for you to find that place. Nothing has transformed my life the way meditation has. And, you know, that practice not only changed me, but changes my experience of living in this world. It gives me that 1.5 second pause before I react, before I say anything, before I open my mouth. It gives me that opportunity to breathe and respond rather than react. It's changed me. And there are lots of spiritual practices. It doesn't have to be meditation. It could be prayer. There's meditation. There's journaling. There's affirmations. There's denial. There's being in service. There's a practice of gratitude, compassion, study, self-care. There's so many. Just find what works for you. Find something and do it. And you can even do it half-assed sometimes. These are the ones, I mean, I do almost all of these. I just need a lot of them, because otherwise the voices in my head will take over, and then I'm not having fun anymore. Mary Morrissey said, keep on the green edges of growing. The green edges of growing. I also heard somebody say once, if I'm not on the edge of growing, I'm taking up too much space. I really like that. Being on the edge of learning something new all the time. So, what is it? Oh, I know. How about when you say the phrase, I'm figuring it out, what are you doing? You're thinking about it. It's your ego. I got to figure this out. How about when you hear yourself say that, say, oh, let me stop and go into my heart and see what Spirit is telling me to do about that. And you'll be guided in a way that you don't have to go back and redo it again. Because when I figure it out, or I think I'm figuring it out, chances are I got to go back and do it again. Whereas when I come from spirit, things unfold in a magical way that I could have never created in my own mind. So staying on the edge of becoming. Be willing to step into the practice that is calling you. Prayer and meditation are the primary practices of new thought. So, anyone know how you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice. That's it. And that's what you have to do with your meditation and your prayer. Practice, practice, practice. And when we give ourselves to anything, it can never be duplicated because there's no other me and there's no other you, right? Sometimes I get weirded out about my new business is more about going into companies and teaching about mindfulness and teaching about living an authentic life and living empowered. And there's a lot of people out there doing it. But then I come back to, yeah, but nobody's doing it my way. Nobody's doing it as Theresa. Only Theresa can do it that way. So that kind of is a blessing and a curse sometimes. No, I'm only kidding. It's always a blessing. But in the letter to Philippians 4:4, it says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your minds in Christ Jesus." Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about these things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. So, that's what I'm talking about, is finding those things in your heart and in a situation. You know, I'm not saying that we can't grieve. We're going to have to grieve. That's what we do. That's how we get to the other side. We have emotions, but emotions are energy in motion. So we allow them to go through our bodies and we allow them to process so that we can get to the other side and show up in our best selves. So sometimes when I'm in crisis, I forget all of this stuff, right? And I go into panic. But it doesn't take as long as it used to remember to breathe, to remember to go in, to say a little prayer, a prayer of guidance. You can also pick up the phone. You can call a prayer chaplain. You can call a friend. You can call Silent Unity. Those are great ways to help get me out of the thinking that I'm thinking, because sometimes I could go spiral right down, right? But to help myself get out of that. To know, like I have a big sign in my kitchen, God is good all the time. But I forget, you know, when I'm going through something that I don't like the way it feels. You could also, you might have a prayer partner. Ruminating on a problem. Is that going to solve it? No. I used to think of all the possible disastrous things that could happen so that I would be prepared. And it doesn't work. There's no way anybody can think of all the disastrous things. And now I say, why don't I think of all the positive things that could possibly happen, you know? If you're going to think about something, dwell on the good. But journaling can help with rumination. Any practice you decide does not have to be perfect. You can do something about the way you feel. Because it's all about raising our vibration to that place of joy and gratitude. It requires your willingness and action. That's the practice. Gabriel Bernstein said, "The way we experience the world around us is a direct reflection of the world within us. If our thoughts and energy are not supportive, then life won't be supportive. Therefore, we must take responsibility by consciously supporting ourselves in every given moment, by being aware of what we're thinking." You can do something about your life, but you have to do something, right? Find a practice or a collection of practices that will help you. Now, the first time I meditated, I was 18 years old. I started something called Transcendental Meditation. And in TM, you meditate 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night. That lasted about 3 months. it was too much for an 18-year-old, or too much for this 18-year-old, okay? That was too much. So every couple of years, I would try it again. And it wasn't until I came here and Sean said, meditate for 5 minutes. And that's when it stuck. If you want to change, if you don't want to change, if you're completely happy with who you are and the way you are in your life right now, then you don't have to do anything. But if you want any kind of change and growth and being able to show up as the best version of you in every situation, just decide on a practice. And it's not all up to you. Grace and blessings need one thing from you. What do they need? Openness. You got to receive them. You got to be able to say thank you. You got to see the blessings coming. Acknowledge them as blessings, just like Steve did as he shared. To see, there's thyroid cancer, but we know now it's like one of the best cancers. If you're going to get cancer, get thyroid cancer. Don't get any cancer. But anyway, ask, believe, and receive. There's a power greater than us that lifts us up. We don't have to earn blessings. Life supports us because we are part of life. Often there's a block in the delivery system. And guess where that is? It's in us. It's in the receiver. And it's not in God. It's not in the universe. They are forever saying yes. Abraham says, I don't know if any of you ever heard of Abraham, Esther Hicks. She channels Abraham. And he says, there are stockpiles of abundance waiting for us. Sean used to say, our joy is chasing us down the street. Our joy is chasing us down the street. We have to just stop and turn around and look to get a new thought, right? That's what we're here, new thought, new perspective. We must be open to receive. We must get our vibration high enough to receive whatever we're asking for. What does prayer do? Prayer doesn't change God. It changes us. Prayer helps us to rise up. Michael Beckwith teaches about 4 stages of consciousness, of evolution. To me, by me, through me, and as me. To me, where everything is happening to me. There's a God out there that likes or doesn't like me and is doing things to me. Okay? And when we get tired of this, when we get tired of this victim consciousness, we give it up and we get to by me, where there is something I can do. I can take up a practice. I can do affirmative prayer. I can hold something in mind as my truth and keep coming back to that truth to manifest it to reality. To be empowered by God to co-create a life of freedom and fulfillment. There comes a point we realize it is not ours to run the universe and keep the focus on ourselves. So because we falsely believe that we can control everything that goes on. The portal to the next level of consciousness is then surrender. Stop. Lay down your resistance. Admit powerlessness. What is the definition of insanity? Yes, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So now you've gone from to me to by me, but the next one is through me. Holy Spirit, use me for good. Addiction can be used for good. It gets people into rooms where they find recovery and go far beyond where they could have gone if without the addiction. Allowing Holy Spirit to move through us and help us. And then there's as me. O.R. Melling said, when you come to the edge of all that you know, you must believe in one of 2 things. Either there will be ground to stand on, or you will be given wings to fly. That is grace as you. So, the third point I want to make is that we are all here on purpose. Trust the process and do nothing and do the next right thing. That is the practice. There's a Native American Indian woman, Cherokee woman, Daini Yawo, and she's a holder of sacred wisdom of the Cherokee people. She tells a story of being 8 years old, and her mother and grandmother were the medicine women for their tribe. They knew she had a gift, and she was given a lot of teaching. But at 8 or 9 years old, she saw all the telephone wires of where she was living. They were all bundled up and everything, and she felt that Mother Earth was being strangled by our technology. She went into a deep place of fear, and she had a vision. A woman came to her with a particular costume on and said, "It's okay, little one. Mother Earth is strong. She's okay. You can rest easy." And that changed her. She carried that new perspective throughout her life. Later, after she had become the holder of sacred wisdom and was sought after and speaking all over the world, she was in Turkey. When she was there was an earthquake, and everyone ran out of the conference. And there, they were all outside, and she saw all the wires were hanging. And something about the building shaking, and something about it shook her into a new awareness. She looked down, and she saw she was wearing the costume that she had in her vision. And this was given to her by the people of the conference. And she was the woman in her vision of 8 years old. Somehow her future self visited her and gave her that wisdom. I share this point because Nancy Napier is always talking to us about our future optimum self. Our highest consciousness is waiting for us. So that might be your person that you pray to, your guides, your angels, your higher self, whatever that lives within us, that knows the truth already of who you are. The world is waiting for us. Not that there's any hurry, but that version of ourselves is available when we reach out and ask for the guidance. You are more than you know yourself to be. Just as the you that was struggling at an earlier time of life, I'm here to remind you, you got through it. And you're a different person. You're more grown, you're more evolved, you're more healed. And that is not going to stop happening, right? We're going to keep healing, we're going to keep elevating, we're going to keep rising above. And as we commit to becoming, we overcome all of life's lessons. Remember, the opposite of death is not life. The opposite of death is birth. So we're going to overcome death also, right? We overcame birth by living this life and being on this path of rising above. And when we transition, we're going to still be on a path. We're still going to be alive. We're just going to be at a higher version of that. There is wisdom in you you don't even know you have yet. As we stay present in the now, something pulls us forward to our next good. Your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. That's from Frederick Buechner. That's how he defines vocation. Your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. And then we have Howard Thurman, who said, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do that. Because what the world needs is people that have come alive. So I don't know what your thing is. I don't need to know. You need to know. So community is a great spiritual practice. We're here for you if you ever want to share or talk or get out of your own head. But to be reminded of the beautiful person that you are. Because we're only here for a little while, right? That dash is very small time and it goes by very quickly. Life is seeking to pour the richest blessings you ever knew through you. So be here, listen, and shine your light. Thank you. I'm your prayer person, your power. I love you, I appreciate you, and know that you are blessed and a blessing.